Welcome back to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. This time, it's an Errand of Mercy. Yeah, it sounds like a John Grisham novel, but no, it's actually an awesome episode of Star Trek. Listen to the guys talk about it, and you might agree. You just might agree. Something else that's great, it's Amanda's picture show, A Go-Go. Yep, same show, different name. She's checking out movies. She's taking somebody who hasn't seen a movie, then they talk about it afterwards. It's as simple as that. Sometimes it's an old movie, like, say, Labyrinth or Donnie Darko. And quite often it's the latest releases. And as the year goes on and those Oscar winners, Oscar nominees start coming out, she'll be breaking those down too. Amanda's picture show, Go-Go, part of the IABD Presents Network, IABDpresents.com. But this is the gang talking about Errand of Mercy on It's All Been Trekked Before.
I'm restarting it, so I'll have to sit through all that and cut it.
Yeah.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. We have the same group that was here last week.
Hey.
So why doesn't everybody say their names?
Hi.
Because we were all here last week.
Oh!
The audience is surely listening to these, like,
Sure.
yeah, they're just...
They already know your voice.
Binge listening, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Keith's voice is very distinct.
It is.
I keep hearing that. I don't know if that means...
So that was Keith.
I guess, maybe. Distinctively. Sorry.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Colleen, and I'm just here for the baby.
Yes, there's been a baby in the last 2 episodes.
I'm Steven, and I'm not the baby in
No.
reference to.
I'm Jimmy-Jerome, the father of Baby Zod, who is probably going to be silent and not actually appear on the podcast, even though she's here.
Look like it. Yeah.
Not today.
And today we're talking about Zod's favorite episode so far, Errand of Mercy. Because she was awake for a little bit of this one. She wasn't the last one.
Oh, do you want me to say the couple things
Yes,
about the episode?
before we get started, go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, so I watched, what is it called again?
Return of the Archons.
Archons and Space Seed. Return of the Archons. I actually...
Just the purge.
Archons.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It wasn't that
the
bad.
most disappointing thing was that I thought from the opening that we were going to get a Sulu episode,
Oh, yeah.
and then it was not. I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought the idea of, like, the computer and stuff and the idea of it sort of being a cult and things was interesting. Though I still don't understand why for 12 hours it became complete debauchery and rape, like, in the streets. Like, that didn't make any sense.
Sure it
Well,
did.
why wouldn't you do that?
I was going to insert a joke about a random city, but everyone just insert your own joke about a random city. That's pretty much, there you go. That's a Saturday night in Cleveland. There you go.
Yeah, it just...
That's Trump's America.
Well, because they were, like, making such a big deal about it
Like
in the first half of the episode, and then it was like, we're just going to completely forget about that entirely.
Yeah, it was. I think I mentioned that it's weird that it's like 12 hours, and actually, I guess the Enterprise guys say the same thing. Like, you were just doing that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was the Nicholas Radcliffe voices everyone used.
Yeah. Well, which always is, it's a thing. I have this theory that in the 1960s, they were, like, super obsessed with the period between, like, the 1890s to the 19-teens, because there's so many, like, television series that deal with that, and movies at that time. Hello, Doll.
Kind of like how we're obsessed with the 60s through the 80s now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting, and they all had, like, the semi-bolo ties going on. So there's
Again,
some good fashion
nostalgia
stuff.
is behind all the evil.
Yes.
It's very Quakerish.
I assure you, the 80s weren't as fun as everyone thinks.
I lived through the 80s. I remember. I was born in the beginning of the 80s.
They weren't as fun for me. Maybe I'm biased.
I have no comment.
I also watched Space Seed.
Yeah, I also watched Space Seed, which is a really good episode, and Khan, and he's just so evil.
Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And him with
He used to be evil, now he's nothing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I watching it through this time.
Not as funny for you, I'm sure.
There was just something about, like, Khan with the, and I forget her name right now, but the chick who...
The historian?
Yeah, the historian. It's just so
the Wendy
creepy.
character?
Yes.
Marlene?
Mears? Maybe?
Mears was
Mears
Galileo
was something else.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But it was just...
She was cleavage.
It
Galileo
was
said.
making me so
That stayed with me.
uncomfortable watching it. It just... And he's like, why is your hair like that? That's not attractive. Like, it just...
What did you think of their sleeping outfits?
Well...
I, for one, loved them.
Yeah, they were there.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Well, the men's were.
Which is why,
Yeah.
Which is why I like them.
Yeah. No more comment about that. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Khan is, like, the big...
Yeah.
Iconic.
Horrible guy.
Because he came back for the movie. If he didn't come back for the movie, I don't think we would
he just
see him so iconic.
No.
Yeah.
It'd be just as likely that we would see Kor, John Calicos, as one of the iconic villains, which we can discuss because he was in Errand of Mercy, which we watched tonight.
That's right.
Good transition.
Kor being one of the Klingon, the main.
He was the main Klingon, played by John Calicos, who's a Canadian, like Shatner is. Best known for The Changeling, The Postman Always Rings Twice, and The Thousand Days.
Okay.
And he played Count Baltar in the original Battlestar Galactica.
Well, before we get too far, I just want to ask my questions about
what.
First of all, what you and Steven remembered about this episode going into it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I'm going into this. I'm realizing every now and then how fresh I am coming into these things. Going, what is going on? What are they going to be doing here?
Oh yeah.
And did you know right away?
Oh yeah.
How many times have you seen it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I said last episode or not, but I kept thinking Return of the Archons and I can't remember A Taste of Armageddon were this episode, and then once we got to Errand of Mercy, I'm like, oh yeah, this one, and yeah, I always remembered liking it, and then watching tonight, some of the things I remember come back to me, as with a lot of them, but this is one that I always liked, but it wasn't one that stood out for me.
This is one I liked, but I'd say growing up with reading a lot of the novels and stuff, the plot of this one came up a lot. Because they always go back to the Organians in discussing the relationship between the Klingons and the Federation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
so this was a super important
that
episode for the mythology of the franchise.
Mm.
So, and tying the question for Colleen, you mentioned only watching season 2. How are you even watching? Was it just syndication, or was it your DVDs, or what?
Oh,
really old.
no, DVDs weren't a thing. My mom had taped them when they showed reruns on TV. So we watched old VHS tapes, and I don't know how many different episodes we had, but yeah, in hindsight, we must have only had seasons 2 and 3 episodes, because I don't remember there ever being a not Chekhov at the helm.
Huh.
Yeah, and like I said, even half of the season 2 and 3 episodes, Chekhov wasn't there. So
right, but
he probably just resonated.
As soon as I saw that other guy there, I was like, "That's Chekhov's seat. Why is he there?" That was
and you probably also watched versions with 5 minutes cut out of each episode because of syndication. Yeah,
I've probably never seen one of the original episodes in its entirety until last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything? I mean,
well,
are you fresh too? Is it just?
No. This one is definitely more fresh. I mean, a lot of the ones that I've seen in the past was when I was a kid and I was watching reruns on TV, and particularly, I think a lot of them were probably more season 2 and season 3. This was a fresh episode for me.
So did you guys see the twist coming that the Organians were super advanced?
I was suspecting something like that, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But not to the... I mean, I wasn't shocked when they finally, revealed, the energy being type thing. Mm-hmm. By the time they revealed it, I should say. But, leading into it, I was like, what? Oh, okay, they're doing this?
Well, I could tell, okay, there's something going on, and they're just trying to teach the Klingons and this... Starfleet a lesson. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that they were going to turn into just pure energy. I didn't know that was going to happen. But I wrote down halfway through, the Organians are just trying to teach everybody a lesson about how they need to not fight.
Well, when they kept saying, we're not in any danger.
Yeah.
Kurt was trying to get us they're naive. But you guys were always no, they're really not in any danger.
Yeah, I was just okay, if they're denying that they're in danger this much, there's something else going on.
Right.
They don't seem stupid.
I feel like if I watched it for the first time in the 60s, I might have bought into Kirk's thing, though, that these guys are just naive. They don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, so the much bigger, global theme that I think that they were trying to do with this was dealing with Vietnam.
Well, it was total Cold War. I mean, the whole Klingon Federation was set up as a Russians
But then also influences of Asian culture in the Klingons, obviously.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
obviously.
Yeah. And then you got the Romulans, of course, too. But yeah, definitely that Cold War aspect, and yeah, Vietnam or any of the other, because the whole domino principle, the idea that
this would have been 1967.
Yeah.
So you're right in the midst of all of the Vietnam stuff, and you couldn't on regular broadcast television be like, we're anti-war, and this was an incredibly anti-war episode.
I enjoy all that stuff where it gets into the, I love that the Kirk's answers are not good answers for, and the Organians call him out on it, and that's definitely, we're here to help you, and that was definitely United States foreign policy.
Yeah, that's
Kirk,
exactly.
You need us.
Kirk was very conceited and patronizing. And I bought it for the character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, that was his role in this.
I also feel like that's a commentary of the U.S., though.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Conceited and patronizing.
Or white men.
Yeah. Yeah. You need us to help you. We will help you. We will give you all these things that will help you.
Amanda, let us tell you what you should say next on the podcast today.
Well, this is actually one of the most satisfying things about both the beginning and the ending of the episode was Spock first saying, for you humans always seem to for things you don't want, you still manage to find it somehow.
That was a great line.
And then full circle around the end there with just Kirk, the dawning realization of what he's saying about as he's making these arguments.
Like you're defending your right to blow up each other.
Like, wait a minute, I don't. But I
Well, and that's the other thing is there was so much about like, well, we have the right to, and even being a commentary right now, you have so many. Well, we have a right as Americans to do this and that, and it's like
I know the people saying they have a right for their children to have health care are just as bad as.
I was thinking more of like,
I know.
Guns and. I can have free speech if I can say the most horrible things about you possible, but if you disagree with me, then free speech is bad.
Well, and we still have the thing of, we don't want, especially right now, we don't want Muslims in our country and this and that, but we have no problem advocating bombing other countries in the world, drone or otherwise. I mean, we're dropping bombs somewhere right this second, I'm sure.
Yeah. But amidst all of this, I love that they had those Kirk core scenes where they were connecting as individuals. And Core's like, I see myself in you. I respect you. We have these similarities and these commonalities, which is a whole nother message that's coming through in this episode.
Yeah.
I just thought that was... I mean, I love John Calicos in this role. I love him and Shatner's interplay. Those were probably my favorite scenes when Core was like, yeah, we're the same.
Yeah.
Well, they're nothing alike. Yeah, no, we're the same.
Sure we are. Yeah.
He laid it out and it was like, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
I thought this was one of my favorite episodes for Kirk or Shatner as far as swagger and smugness.
Oh, he's super Kirk.
And
like super Shatner.
I liked it though. Is like,
love it too.
I was watching it and thinking I would still want to be that guy. Like, I mean,
because
I have no problem being smug and being an asshole in real life,
Right.
but I'm not like he is. He's just good at it. I mean,
he was wrong, but his intentions were good. Like, he really wanted to protect them.
Yeah.
He really was playing the hero.
Yeah.
I was going to say he even hit the caricature deliveries at times.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
So good.
He got even like a McCoy line where he's like, I'm a soldier, not a diplomat.
Yeah, I wrote that
Just
down.
because McCoy took this episode off.
And I thought that was weird because he kind of is, but lots of other times he plays that guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's just driving the ship so people can get medical exams. So,
yeah, which was one thing that I found interesting about this episode because there have been so many times where Kirk is the diplomat and the one trying to like calm things down, even though like he sometimes has his swagger going on. But in this, it was like to get the lesson that they wanted, they couldn't let Kirk.
Well, I think this was also a different situation. Like at this point, it seemed like there had been a long build up to the war. And war had just been declared. Kirk had just faced a Klingon in battle. So it's coming from a little different place with that ongoing relationship. This wasn't an isolated alien encounter. This was a build over a larger arc.
Yeah, well, which is frustrating because I know these are very typically more standalone. There's not huge arcs, and I feel like if this were being made today, you would actually get to see the build up and understand that instead of just being thrown in, which sometimes just being thrown in is great, but in this case, I feel like you miss something.
I think it would have been nice to have the build up, but I also thought this was okay because there's a lot going on in their world, and this is just one aspect. They're not concerned with the Klingons all the time. This was just. But we also have other Klingon episodes coming up that will further our understanding of that race.
Yeah. So, as I like to point out, these are what I've noticed, like, first things, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, this feels like certainly the most we've seen Klingons so far in the series. Is that correct? I mean, have we seen them at all? I mean, I can't remember if we've seen.
I don't think we've seen them
this is the first.
I was about to ask the same thing.
Yep.
So, yeah, the no forehead ridges. The voices were very.
Yeah.
It was a disease. No, there have been different explanations, but I'm pretty sure we looked up online the last time we talked about this, and that in the show Enterprise, they established it was a disease.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought you were just joking about
No. Because there has to be an explanation, because Kor, who's in this episode, the Klingon captain, same actor, same character, returns for 3 episodes of Deep Space Nine, and he has the forehead ridges.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not the only one. There's 2 other Klingon captains in the original series that come back in Deep Space Nine, and even though they all look that way in the original, they all have the ridges in Deep Space Nine.
Wow.
So they did have to explain away that. For a while, a lot of the novels used the theory that it was plastic surgery before they interacted with the humans to kind of preserve some of the secrecy of their culture and stuff. But I think the official canon explanation now is it was a disease that made the ridges disappear, and then they cured it and brought it back.
Literally the first time I've ever heard of any. That's
Yeah.
So the other thing, very, very smooth, proper voice. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the performance. But
the Klingons are very Shakespearean.
The modern version of them certainly is more like, whoa, I have to talk like that. And, we're very,
to a point. But I was kind of impressed at how fully formed the Klingons were here, because you got the honor code, you got their warlike tendencies, but you also got that it meant something to them. They weren't just killing to kill.
Okay, I have to ask, did anyone else find it a little disturbing that they're essentially in blackface, though?
Well, I was going to say that everybody other than Kalikos, the main guy, you can see like the
smears of grease paint.
Well, the chin line, like the makeup chin line. But not disturbing in the sense of like they're doing. It's just sloppy.
No,
I think it's more because I had the same thought too.
They tinged Spock's skin green.
Yeah,
because when
they just do a better job.
George Chakiris is in later episode, he's even darker.
Even
more.
And
that's because it's already dark.
Next Gen Deep Space Nine, most of the Klingon actors are African Americans.
It's true.
Yeah,
and in the movies.
There's a difference though between having an African American actor and just.
But there's different shades of Klingon skin, just like there's different shades of human skin.
Yes, but probably because of the different species intermixing, whatever. But the point is, it's not the same thing. It has nothing to do with race. This is a fictional.
It was just when they first showed up, I was like, oh, it just like.
No, it's just the makeup job is just really sloppy. It's just like the chin line. It's like, what the hell?
Even the makeup for the main guy, Kor, right? Yes. It was.
I thought it was fine.
I don't know. It just seemed a little like super. You could really see the lines of where the makeup was.
Well, I think some of that was purposeful too. They wanted it very angular. I mean, there were swoops through the middle of his face that I'm like, that was on purpose.
Well, the extras made it look like they just had like.
Well, the extras they didn't spend much time.
They just.
Kor was the one they did the best.
Like you said, grease paint. It looked like they just did grease paint on their face. But
not just look like it, that's what they did.
I don't know. There was just something about some of the close-ups with him that I just was like, what were they doing? Like, I know they're trying to establish a new alien race. And a militant alien race.
Sure.
But...
Now, if they'd done the Black Power fist, I think we would have noticed more.
Jesus.
Oh, God.
And it was supposed to be not making fun of, but certainly like taking off of what they perceived Asian culture to be, right? I mean, as far as
the honor code and the Fu Manchu.
Yes.
But they were primarily Russian in the Cold War dynamics, so they were kind of a combination of a few cultures.
You're saying the honor code, and again, I was saying this is so.
Yeah, they're kind of Japanese culture if you get into that part.
Well, no, I was getting to my point was like how. This isn't quite fully formed because so we see Kirk go for the garroting and the guy's like
Amanda got really excited.
Immediately the underling's like Sure, I'll do anything you want. I'm fine. No, where now modern Klingons are like, whoa.
Well, see, I thought about that as it was happening for a second. That thought did cross my mind.
Yeah, me too.
But then I was thinking of some other Klingon characters later on that are kind of sniveling little cowards. Huh. And so, like any fully formed race, they're going to be individuals. And I was like, it's just lucky they got the Weasley one.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
There are definitely a lot of Klingons, though, would have rather died than talked, for sure. But I've seen other Klingons, even in the modern era, behave like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, we get to Deep Space Nine, there's a Klingon chancellor in charge of the whole race that kind of acts like that they have to depose. So it's not universal across the board.
I just really liked that Kirk took his belt off and roped a guy, and
So let's do fashion.
Oh my god, I so much.
Because there's so much.
Fashion.
So let's start with the tights and the Shakespearean / King Arthur costumes.
Okay, there is so much to talk about. Let's just start when they first get there and everything is medieval, and it looks like they're at medieval times.
Or in
that episode, The Cage, because I think that might be the same set.
Yes, definitely the same set from The Cage.
Where he fights on Rigel.
Yeah, Rigel 7.
And, like, the head guy for the Organians.
Ileborn.
Yes. He's all...
Ileborn, played by John
velvet.
Abbott, who looks very familiar. Like, I feel like he's a recognizable actor. Sorry, we'll get right back to fashion. But John Abbott, who died in 1996, sadly, has 163 IABD credits. He's most famous for the Disney animated film The Jungle Book, where he voiced the wolf. He was also in Gigi. He was in Mrs. Minerva. He was in Gambit. So he's got lots of credits.
Okay. So, Spock and Kirk's fashion. I like how they kept the same color schemes to their Enterprise uniform.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't until you mentioned
Now
it.
we mentioned it.
I noticed Kirk's right away, but I didn't occur to me that.
And the blue.
And the blue.
And like the laureate fringe.
Yeah,
and of course Kirk's was low cut.
Of course.
Yeah. It was the exact same yellow, and then the blue tights that Spock was wearing was the exact same blue as his shirt on the Enterprise.
Well, let me tell you, when the Organians were fitting them, the Organian that was doing it, when Kirk kept asking for more cleavage, he almost resorted to violence. That's how bad it got.
The deleted scene is Martin Short playing the Organian to dress them. Very Father of the Bride style.
Oh my god, I love Martin Short. I also thought that when there were a couple like wider shots where you saw the two of them standing next to each other instead of like medium close-ups, and it looked like Spock was Robin Hood and Kirk was his merry man.
With the boots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the boots.
The boots.
They looked really warm and comfortable.
The boots, which were their same boots, just with furs wrapped around them. I mean, that's because I looked. It is the exact same boots that they wear in their uniform. They just wrapped furs around them.
Spock and Kirk's?
Yeah, Spock and Kirk's.
I was looking at the other guys. There's the other Organians. Other than Ileborn. Ileborn didn't have them, but all the other guys on the council did.
Had the leather wrapped around the fur.
Had the
Yeah, Ileborn. He just had like flats.
He didn't go for that kind of.
Well, John Abbott at that time was established enough he could make a request not to have to wear heels. I don't know.
So what about also fashion? The fashion of the Klingons. Mm-hmm. They're awfully...
Which is the uniform they keep for the whole original series.
Yeah, they're awfully sparkly for loving war.
I thought David Bowie pants. I thought Bowie would wear those pants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying, Keith. Like metal, like
metallic.
Yeah.
But
the sash continues on to their uniforms.
The excellent burlap gold sash. Mm-hmm. It does.
It looked like a party supply store find.
Yeah.
The sashes did.
You probably could find it at a party supply store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They looked very cheap. I didn't mind the fake metal outfits, but...
Yeah, I just thought, like, they're really sparkly. Like, they were fine, and it worked. It wasn't like some that we've seen where it's like, what are you doing?
Theirs look like they breathe a little more than the Romulans. Not as heavy.
I thought their uniform... I still think the Romulans were kind of redesign of a outfit we'd already seen other characters in. Yeah. The Klingons actually seemed like they were built for the Klingons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
although it is funny that both the militaristic Romulans and Klingons have the sashes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very old school military, like British,
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I mean, they had to dress a lot of Klingons too. I mean, not the hundreds that they said were there, but there were.
I love how they're like, there's hundreds, and then they showed 8.
Well, I mean, they're around.
I know.
Sometimes they
Just
only
like
show
one shot.
3.
And I was wondering,
So-
when they invade, is there just this one city on the planet that's inhabited?
Right,
Or is
right.
Because most Star Trek planets seem to only have one city, and the entire planet's only one temperate zone.
And it's one kind of person, one race.
You're going to hate me for saying this, but I was just listening to a podcast where they were making the same argument about Star Wars.
I was gonna say that. I held back, but
Star
I had
Wars
the
ripped
same.
it off of Star Trek.
I had the same conversation.
Yeah.
Or I
They
listened
did.
to a
Star
similar
Wars ripped it off
conversation.
of
And
Swamp
that's the
Planet.
only
There's an
thing-
ice planet.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what Star Trek does.
Yeah. Well, and
Most
on,
sci-fi does.
on
Yeah.
that note, at the beginning of the episode, and I think they've used this device before, but it's always Kirk like, "Hey Spock, tell me about this planet." It's a great device to be like, "We're gonna give you some exposition so you know what we're getting into here," but it also, under the guise of, "I need more information on this planet."
Exposition.
And is this the first? And they probably used it before, but is this the first time they used the Class M designation?
This is what I was.
Did you have?
Oh.
Yeah, I thought because I didn't
Still
remember
makes
it being
sense.
used before,
I'm
but
not sure.
because
I
yeah,
feel-
that
I'm
becomes a
pretty
big
sure it
thing
is.
going forward.
I feel like I would have noticed before.
Yeah.
Also, they said the Richter scale of culture. Is that what
Yeah.
they called it?
Yeah.
So Class D and then
That
Richter
made
scale.
me laugh.
Yeah, the Class D. I was like, what's going on?
You only ever hear like them mentioning Class M and like Voyager and other things.
Oh, they do. Okay, there you go.
So
Well, Class M is the habitable. We do hear other classes of planets
Which is
occasionally in
supposed to
Star
be
Trek, but not
Earth-like,
often.
is what I
Yes.
always. Yeah,
Yeah.
Earth-like. Yeah.
Something I found odd in this is they seem to frequently equate Earth with the entire Federation.
Yes.
Like, we're appearing to the Federation world, and they just kept saying that. And we know with Spock being a Vulcan, and as we get into Star Trek, we'll see more and more races as part of the Federation of planets.
well, you know what that is.
It's like the United States.
Yep.
You know that like if
Human centric is every centric
Yeah.
like this.
Oh, yeah.
like we send in a multinational armed force brigade, and the United States is 90% of it.
Right.
Earthlings make up
Yeah.
90%
Yeah.
of Starfleet.
Well, I mean, because even they're all like, oh, wait, he's a Klingon. Or not a Klingon, he's a Vulcan. You know what I mean? It's
He
always.
has to be Federation.
The Organians call him a Vulcanian.
I
and
noted
then they
that.
call them Vulcans the rest
A
of the
Vulcanian
I didn't catch
trader
that.
from
Yes.
Vulcan. They call him a Vulcanian trader, and then the
And then
thing is,
everybody else
this
calls him
Vulcan. Yeah.
I did love where they were like, and you sell this and this, and then Spock's like, my name is Spock. I'm a trader, and I sell this and this.
Yes.
Well, I had a question about that. Is Core knows Kirk, right? He acts
He
like,
knows him by reputation.
Yeah.
but he doesn't know
Spock.
Spock.
Well, he makes the connection once he knows
officer.
who Kirk
Yeah,
is.
okay.
He realizes he's his
No,
first
that's a
officer.
good
But I felt like he should know Spock's name.
Yeah, why does Kirk get a code name?
Right.
And Spock is just like, I'm Spock.
Instead of Spocko. Sorry. Too soon.
Never
That's
too
okay.
soon.
No, I think
Well, actually, it was probably the Organians were like, well, they were like, we need a name, give us a name. And the Organians like, whatever. What is it? Bolura?
Or did it say anything?
I feel like they pronounced it two
It was
different
like-
ways.
No, they had.
It was almost like Boromir.
Bronian.
Bronian.
And they were like, yeah, Kirk, you should be Verona.
Brony.
And then,
That's it, Verona, because it
yeah.
was like Boromir and Verona
Yeah.
combined.
Yeah.
And then Spock, they're like, Spock, we're not going to do any better than Spock. Just go with that. Just stick with that.
But Core didn't recognize the name until Kirk, and then he's like, oh yeah, and you have a Vulcan first officer.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
But this is another thing that the original series does ridiculously. We've got a very dangerous mission. Let's send the captain and the first officer down to the planet. No security officers, just the captain and the first officer.
This was another one where I was
Sulu
like,
in command.
Sulu's in charge! And then we never
Which it should have been
Sulu
Scotty,
until
because
the
Scotty
end.
outranks Sulu, but Scotty wasn't in
He
this
wasn't in this
episode.
episode.
Scotty doesn't know.
No!
Sulu got to have one of the best lines in this movie, or in this show, though.
Errand
What
of
is it he
Mercy could have
says?
been a movie.
When he said it's too hot to handle,
Too cold to hold.
because it was literally too hot to handle. Oh my god.
That was
Like,
great.
oh, Sulu, I love you.
So let's see. There's a few minor things, but there's like two other. Well, no, the M class thing was mentioned. One other like canon thing that I wanted to ask about. So, Kirk, when he was like wheeling and dealing down there, I'm not sure if I've asked about this. The Prime Directive, has that been established? Or is that only Next Generation?
It is established in the original, but I don't think we've heard it yet.
Okay.
At least not in its final form.
That's a good question.
Because he was like, we can invent your culture. We can know all this other stuff. And like,
that did seem off to me as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but again, that's the American imperialism coming in.
Exactly. They were being very clear about that. Mm-hmm. I appreciated the when he said that Spock's like 10,000 years and they've shown no development. And I just thought, well, you're describing where I grew up. So really, it's not that unusual.
The tricorder, in fact, too. Yeah, he uses the tricorder to figure out.
Well, I like when they got their phasers and their communicators out of the cabinet, they left the tricorder, so I guess they didn't care if the Organians got to examine their tricorder later.
Yeah.
Well, I like that it was all just in a cabinet that was easily accessible in the room where they were all sitting.
That didn't surprise me, because the Organians had total control of the situation.
That's true.
Care.
They give zero hex.
How did Kirk and Spock not think, let's look in this only cabinet in this room?
They weren't in that room by themselves. Those guys are standing there. You can't just start looking in cabinets. And they probably thought, like you did, why would they just put it in the cabinet right there?
But their clothes were in that cabinet, so wouldn't they have...
The other thing Kirk and Spock do until late in the episode is every time they subdue a Klingon, they never take their gun or anything. Like, we're good with what we got. We don't need another gun. Why would we?
Well,
what are we going to do with a Klingon gun?
I don't think the disruptors have stun settings at this point in the history.
What's that?
I don't think the Klingon disruptors have stun settings at this point. Seriously.
So
they took it. Kirk and Spock aren't killing anybody unless they have to.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And they have their phasers, so they don't need the weapon.
But wouldn't they at least take it so they don't get shot?
My thought was they'd take it to study it if they didn't.
Oh, I'm sure the Federation's got disruptors by now.
Probably through their spies.
Yeah. Well, so spies, that brings up the mind scanner, which we never even see.
Yes.
But is sort of like a big plot point to some extent.
I was going to ask about what the name of that was. He said a name.
Mind Sifter. Yeah, and I can't remember if they use it.
He said even something else, gave it a name for the procedure that he put Spock through right before that.
Because there were levels, and he was on level. He had level 4.
I can't remember what it was called. There's some name to it, and then he went on to categorize it as a mind sifting process or a mind sifter. Unless maybe he said
called the mind sifter.
I can't remember if that's used in another episode.
Pretty sure. I know it definitely comes back in novels and stuff.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I specifically remember in a couple novels where it played a huge part. It was a really cool concept.
Yeah, I think at some point they were just like, that's the loser's way to do it. We're warriors. We're going to hand-to-hand make them talk.
Well, I think part of it, though, is they just didn't have the budget to show
another device.
All they had to do was use the same kind of chair that they used to
dagger the mind.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And
it could scream and it could flash I thought one thing I misunderstood for a minute is Spock was talking about his natural defenses for it because he's Vulcan. For a second, I just thought the Organians had blocked it from hurting him.
Oh, right.
Oh.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that because
at that point you guys didn't know the Organians could do that. And I did, and I was like, they're just blocking it. No, they didn't block it.
Yeah, I just assumed it was a Vulcan thing.
Yeah. Well, it was.
Well, how do you know they didn't block it? I mean...
Because he said he felt it, and if it hadn't been for his defenses, it would have...
Yeah, because he was saying to Kirk, you don't have the same Vulcan defenses, so you wouldn't be able to do it the way that I did.
Right.
I thought the Organians' handling of the too hot to handle thing was similar to A Clockwork Orange.
I've never seen that. Sorry.
Just a way to make people recoil from doing violent acts. So I'll just leave it at that. So
it did make me wonder, they're all like, "Oh, we can't touch each other." So if they decided to touch each other in a friendly way, would it still work? Did it have to do with their intent? Because one of you even said, at the end when Kirk and I keep saying this, Core were saying their goodbyes or whatever, and you just wanted him to be and give him a friendly little tap. So if he gave him a friendly tap, would it not be hot because his intent was...
I got the impression it wasn't intent, because otherwise why did every officer on the bridge of the Enterprise recoil? It wasn't just the ones firing the phasers, it was...
But was it because they were all intending to commit harm to the Klingons at that point?
But I mean, not...
Because they were all...
Everybody
all
on the bridge
operating,
would be...
something. The chef may not have been able to cook.
He just opened up that turkey again, and once more it was something else.
And Yeoman Rand was safe from a sexual assault. Finally.
That was another deleted scene. She was being sexually assaulted, and he recoiled in pain.
Oh, God.
Your boob, it's so hot!
I'm sure that you covered this on a very early episode, because I haven't listened to any of them. But I did not remember how short Uhura's dress was.
I noted this is the shortest
She
yet.
leaned back and it was
This
just
is
panties.
the shortest.
there.
This is the shortest yet. I noted.
It keeps getting shorter throughout this season.
yeah?
Oh, yeah.
It started out, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty short," and then it has continued to be.
It's just a short
Oh my god!
panties.
It's even, yeah,
And-
it's essentially
Cheerleader.
like a romper.
I pay close attention just because it's
Oh, I'm
her,
sure
but also the fact that I know I have limited time with her in each episode. I track her every scene, not just the height of her skirt, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Also, how long her earrings are dangling.
Yeah.
I noticed the big hoops.
I love them. Aren't they great? Yeah. Sorry. I know. I didn't bring up the earrings this
That's
time.
okay.
Because every time Jim's like, yeah, they're always there. I'm like, I still like
And
them
every
and I
time
want
she gets
them.
excited and brings
Yes.
it up.
She used a sassy communications episode.
Yes.
Actually, to get back to the Yeoman Rand, because I can't let that go.
Sure.
Actually, you said the thing the attacker said before he touched her, and then after he touched her. Man, that's one hot boob. That's one hot boob.
And then Smith Jones is like, my boobs are hot too.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares?
Smith Jones is always safe. Actually, she's the one who didn't have to recoil at all.
She's still
She was
in
in
her
one
prime.
episode. We think she's a sad cat lady.
Yeah.
We
She's
bring
very
her
cute,
up all the
but-
time. She's
Yeah.
always in our alternate versions.
So, Steven, what is your official alternate for this episode?
I forgot to write one down, but that's it. That's
Yeoman
my
Rand.
lazy one. But the Yeoman Rand, avoiding the
Being assaulted.
sexual assault, almost being sexually assaulted, or I guess she was, but
I wanted to see
it was once again foiled.
I wanted to see the Organians like just hanging out as light balls. Like, oh my god, somebody's coming. Okay, everybody get ready for the surprise party. Everybody, you put up the buildings. You put up the.
And what made them choose those specific forms? Why not look like Rock Hudson or something? Oh yeah, they couldn't afford Rock Hudson. But
That's it.
Well, along those lines, I just thought.
Or they should have just all been Uhura's.
now you're talking.
Thought of a couple.
Speaking of the pure energy, Keith
Yeah.
and I very much enjoyed
yes.
when Spock says pure energy, because that's
Pure
the
energy.
sample from Information Society's.
What's on your mind? Or
Yeah. I want to know what you're thinking.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
And I'll stop so that way we don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, we get a few bars.
But that was a great late 80s song. I will stick up for the 80s than that. Maybe it was early 90s. Either way, I'll stick up for that song.
so one of my joke things here, and it also seems I mean think of something else, and it's actually kind of a serious question.
Okay.
So they were saying first, starting with the joke, of course. They said they don't have anything that anybody would want, except for the rainbow goats.
The rainbow goats are awesome.
Okay, but
And then there were the lesser known blue-green goats, which are as interesting.
Those goats are also
cute,
pure energy creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my point. They take these humanoid forms just to convince everyone. So they also go to the trouble, I guess, of making like this
Livestock, yeah.
Yeah, this facsimile of like of a functioning society, and like,
Well,
here's
actually,
our trading.
those people like oh, you have to go too. Can I be a rainbow goat? All right, then I'll go. I'll be
And then
there.
there's the guy who's like, I'm supposed to be a pure energy, and instead I'm separating all these different colors from the rainbow goat for different cloths.
Yeah, that's another great point. Is you get 5 guys who get to be like in the room there. We're the council. Other guys go, why the. Well, all right. Why do I have to be out here in the bazaar?
Why do I show
walking
like
goats around?
Goku?
Yeah,
Speaking of those guys, Alborn says he's the temporary.
Yes, because he kept saying we don't really have a leadership.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they're beyond.
Beyond such
That makes
things.
They're beyond
That
all
makes
of
sense.
that. All right, I have a question. Did anybody else find that Kirk was really bad at blending in?
He wasn't even trying.
No, you didn't even.
Where's your smile?
He even says, like, they gave us the Organians' dress to blend in. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, you are the worst at blending
And yet he's
in.
like trying to attack them at every turn. Spock's holding him back, and there's other Klingons just watching. Like those other Klingons should jump up and beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
They were on their break.
Yeah.
They were in the mess hall.
That's right.
Honor
They're,
was insulted.
they're
Well,
drinking coffee.
And that was another part that just made me think of
Blood wine.
And they say occupation, which was very much a reference to Eastern Europe and
Sure.
with the Soviets and all that kind of stuff. And then they say I can't remember. I think it's Kor says we're part of a whole, and we're always under surveillance. Which again,
yeah,
that's
the
Soviet
under
Russia
surveillance
or
is very...
the current United
Big
States.
brother.
Pick your So I thought that's
James Comey's watching him.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. He got fired.
yeah.
Oh, snap.
Oh my god.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
That was very recent.
Yes.
As in yesterday.
Actually, it was a couple of months
ago now.
Mm.
They've hired his replacement.
Yes, right.
Mm.
For the audience.
And his replacement was actually fired. And this time, Trump has been impeached by the time this airs.
Oh,
I was editing one today where we said that, and it wasn't true.
Ah,
But that one's not going to go live for a couple weeks.
that's right. So we got a lot.
maybe. Hopefully.
By the time this one goes live, though, surely he's been impeached by now.
Yeah,
Or
if
is
we're
that-
alive, we might all be nothing by then.
God.
So, God, one of the other things I noted. This goes back to what we were saying at the very beginning.
Yeah.
About how we didn't know. We had an idea of where it might be going at by a certain point because they kept going on about how we're gonna be fine. But
Yeah.
one of the things I felt was very distracted by at the very beginning was I assumed that something else was going on because of the welcome guys. Like, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're welcome. Take a look around. You're welcome. Everything's fine. And so I was like, oh, it's gonna be
Something kind of nefarious or something going on there.
It's just
Our
a
new
real.
FBI director.
Oh God! I just saw that. It took me.
You gotta put it together, Keith.
Oh jeez.
Don't be rushing to any conclusions.
Chet, American man.
I didn't even see the whole name. I was like, oh. Okay.
But I did like the "You're welcome" greeting because the Organians did it a certain way, and Kirk and Spock did a kind of like a whatever.
They did it like a Ross "screw you" from Friends.
Yeah, it's like
It was like moving the hands out. It also reminded me of in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie when the Collector sees the Infinity Stone and he pulls his hands together and then shakes them and like explodes. But
I guess when you're pure energy, that's what you go to.
Your energy.
yeah.
What other notes you guys got?
Do they mention Armenians at the top of the episode?
I asked the same thing. It sounded like he said Armenian.
I thought they were referencing the Armenian genocide.
I did too. Okay, so it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I just
I wrote it
misheard
down. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Which was really,
Okay. Because then later on I was like, maybe I just misheard it. But if you also heard Armenia, like, yeah.
Yes, he does compare it to Armenia and Belgium in Earth's history.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Also, later they say, and Colleen noted this, you people are in great danger. As Colleen said, what do you mean, you people?
Organians.
I know.
Rainbow sheep.
It was just funny.
So there were a few things I guess I noted about stunts. First one was
They were perfect.
Kirk jumping down off and
Oh my
doing the
God.
takedown with his like,
And
a hand in the
missing,
back.
as always. Like, he always never lands on the guy. He always lands behind him and then has to grab.
Hand in the back, but he
Seems less efficient.
didn't even do an axe handle. It was just like
Nope.
here we go. I'm just like hugging you, just a little like pat in the back.
Pat on the back.
Go down. It looked like when he was being tossed in the cell, it looked like there was a crash pad
Yes.
for the floor because you could see
I
something
saw
about
that.
the way it kind of like
The
by
mat of
edge.
straw that he
Yes.
landed on, like, pushed down like a mat.
And this seemed to be one of the most, I guess, modern versions of the nerve pinch.
Yeah.
I think Spock's got it settled now. He's just kind of like, there we go.
Yeah, he did it a couple
Did the
times.
Organians have a jail cell just so it looked like they had a jail? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Huh.
That's all I can think, because why would the
thought about
Organians
that
have a
too.
jail cell?
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Huh.
They invented it when Kor was saying we need a jail cell.
Well, and why would they
Yeah.
choose like medieval times to be what Earth is?
Yeah.
Because maybe they were trying to present themselves as at a time where they weren't advanced enough to be threatening.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
I'm
yeah,
guessing
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Except there was a lot of war going on then. Just saying.
Well, not
They
in
don't
their
know
culture.
that.
yeah.
What I thought the strangest thing to me in the episode was in Kor's office, there was like cutouts of the wall behind him, like just like holes in a pattern, and then behind that there were curtains. And I was like, why are there curtains on the outside of his wall where he can't touch it or get to them?
Huh.
It's covering those holes. I'm sure it's a
style.
set thing.
Set
No, it's a
decoration.
set decoration, so you don't see through them. But I was like, that just makes no sense. Who has curtains on the outside of their office like
I
that?
feel like the agrarian thing's another Vietnam reference, too. Because
Yeah.
it was just a... Whatever, I'm simplifying it, obviously, but it was a very agrarian society. And
I think so.
Well,
Yeah,
as far as the medieval thing, I just realized that it goes along with what we were saying before. You want to present them as being simple and not having anything to offer. So they wanted to be technologically behind everyone else.
Right.
So there's nothing for you to take.
Sure.
Not in any danger.
Yeah. Well, and I think, what you're saying, Stephen, too, like, that all ties in. Like, we want to give you all this stuff, and all we're saying is let us help you in return.
They were talking to their buddy Tree Lane, and they got their time period sort of from him, much less substantial.
I liked, at least one of the lines I liked was from the Organians, we find your interference in other affairs disgusting. Which is definitely a feeling of a lot of Americans.
Your presence physically pains us.
Yes.
Yes. There were a couple other quotes that I enjoyed. When Kor says, "I don't trust men who smile too much."
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
I didn't feel like the council was smiling all that much.
No, they were just sort of blank.
Placid.
No, there were a couple. They had a couple reaction
On the
shots.
ends, they were kind of smiling.
Yeah.
a little,
Those guys
Smiles, more smiles.
But Arrowborn or whatever wasn't smiling.
No.
Yeah, and
He
then
was in too much pain.
my other favorite was when Kirk said to Kor, instead, because he couldn't say "go f yourself" because it was the '60s, he was like, "Go climb a tree."
Yeah. Not even jump in a lake. Not even fly a kite. Climb a tree.
Go climb a tree. I love that was like supposed to be the big insult. It just,
He actually did say "go f yourself," but the Organians turned it into
Right. It was
right.
too aggressive.
Yes.
They were just blocking the.
Why don't you go
aggressive language.
climb a tree?
I thought it was interesting that Kor said if they would fight, it would be glorious, which is the same thing the Romulan dude said in Balance of Terror. Let me do it. It'd be glorious.
Wonder why they didn't just bring the Romulans back. Why they had to make a new race, the Klingons. I don't know.
Maybe they were just trying to show that there's more going on in the universe.
Possibly. Well, because one of the other, actually, along those lines, one of the other things I really love in this episode is when I think it's Spock says that compared to the Organians, we are the amoeba.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me is when I think of if there's a god out there, that's what's going on right now. It's the Organians. I mean, if I think there's a god, I think it's an Organian.
Interestingly, Spock seemed to indicate that gods were real. Like he was like in the Buddha, blah blah blah. And I was like,
He also said
that
when
this
the
episode?
gods.
Yes. Yeah, he seemed to indicate that gods were actually real,
I didn't hear that.
Yes, he did.
which I found strange.
But I love that concept. As a agnostic, I love that concept. That's essentially what they. If there's a guy, that's what it'd be like, and we're amoebas. Clearly, still not figuring it out. So
That's kind of where I'm at. Both agnostic and figuring it out, and also a god. any interpretation of that statement.
anyone ask you if you're a god?
Say yes. Anything else?
That's all I got.
The only other thing I had was the Organians don't want anybody to cause harm, but when they become pure energy, they're clearly blinding everyone and causing harm.
That's their problem.
Yeah, sorry.
That was the last thing I had. Because I was like, man, they all seem in pain. Like, they're really...
What's weird is they don't really walk away. They just cover their eyes. It's like you could move.
Kor covered his eyes wonderfully. I loved Kor's reaction shot.
Like a baby holding it, you cover it with the hands. You're like,
It was like baby's on. Yep.
And maybe that's the one area where the Organians have literally a blind spot. They're just
unaware.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we don't know that. We didn't know that it did that to you.
Yeah.
So, are you keeping Tamula or with some of those beams of light? We're probably non-gender specific.
I'm sticking with Tamula.
Okay. I mean, those rainbow sheeps are pretty hot.
What episode was Tamula?
The Taste of Armageddon.
I'm
sticking with Tamula as well.
Yeah.
Keith?
Oh, yeah.
Stay with Tamula?
I'm standing, I suppose, yes.
And Amanda, you're still with Samuel T. Cogley. Although you have Cooper in this episode.
Yeah, I'm sticking with...
Or Aelborn.
No, but I'm sticking with Cogley. I'm still all about Elisha Cook Jr.
You're welcome to have one of the Organians. Welcome.
He just did the welcome.
You're still very
this
welcome.
episode, I think we're going to start pretty near the top, right?
Yeah, I think
I
it's a really good one.
Let's start with
It's well
comparing
above-
it to Balance of Terror.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's well above the Miri line.
Oh.
We've established.
Oh, yeah.
It's also kind of important, too.
Yeah, let's start with Balance of Terror because that seems a like-minded
Yeah,
episode.
where do we have that right now?
5th from the top.
Okay.
So is this better or worse than Balance of Terror?
I kind of feel like maybe just a tiny bit better, because like one of the issues we had with Balance of Terror was
that it was a submarine.
Submarine, which doesn't fully fit, but this really does feel like a full-on Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a lot of the themes, and then it's got a lot of, I mean, it's still Cold War, but also Vietnam, so like you're dealing with multiple levels of larger themes, not just in the show, but that are going on in the culture at that time.
Well, I thought the Klingons were better defined than the Romulans. I think John Colicos's core was amazing, and I liked the Organian story a lot.
Yeah, I loved all those aspects we got into. And I mean, but the human, warlike part of my human nature makes me really love Balance of Terror. But you guys make a lot of sense.
Above or below the Menagerie?
That's hard because, like we've said before, Menagerie Part 1,
phenomenal.
Really good. Menagerie Part 2.
Yeah, I think I'd put it above, honestly.
Yeah, I'm thinking that way too.
Yeah, because I just re-listened to that episode of Us again. And I think it would go above.
Taste of Armageddon.
I think I like this one better.
That was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
This is very comparable for the messages in a way, isn't it?
But I think this had better, well-defined guest characters.
Yeah. The mystery behind what was going on was more curious, I guess, for the Taste of Armageddon kind of thing, but though I did not see it coming as far as like
you could see sort of where this was going.
That's a tough call. That's really close.
It is tough.
Yeah.
I'd kind of edge it up just because I have my love for core, I think.
You know what? I mean, this is more important too. I mean, because we got the M-Class and the Klingons and so forth.
Now we're up to number 2, where No Man Has Gone Before.
I am open to it being above Where No Man Has Gone Before, but I'm gonna stick with Where No Man Has Gone Before. But I'm not steadfast on that.
I mean, I definitely don't think it's above The Cage. Though it does have some similar ideas going on with the idea of the alien being more advanced and seeing, oh, you guys, instead of just being like, oh, we're gonna leave you alone, though, they're like, we're stopping you from war.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some real talks next week. We're gonna be in the same stratosphere.
I think I want to put it between above or below The Cage, but above Where No Man's Gone Before.
I'm okay with that.
Keith?
Scandalous.
Do you disagree?
No,
a strong disagreement?
I don't have a strong opinion about that, so I think that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, mine is very much based on nostalgia. So I'm totally.
So we're ranking this as number 2, which is way up there.
Wow.
I mean, as I was watching it, I thought it was one of the best ones.
It's one of those
really good.
The name is not catchy. Errand of Mercy does not make you think, oh yeah, that episode. But yeah, it's really good.
And there wasn't a lot that it was like, oh, that production is, or there wasn't too much cringy stuff going on at all.
Yeah.
Well, next week is the alternative factor.
Oh yeah, I was thinking next
then
week.
We get Singing Forever.
Next week we'll probably will not be.
Next week we'll be down low.
Next week is alternative factor.
We'll probably be in the Miri zone probably next week.
Yeah, I think so.
Hovering
but then Singing Age of Forever, we're going to be debating that page, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's going to be 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm inclined to say it's going to be above The Cage. But
me too.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
How recently have you both watched that?
It's been a few years, but that's probably the one I've rewatched the most.
I was just going to say, for some reason, I had City on the Edge of Forever. It was like one of the first Trek videos I think I got to watch outside of just watching, and so I think I watched it 100 times or something.
City and Tribbles are my 2 go-to episodes that I'm like, these are the best examples of original Trek. One's drama, one's comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next week, the alternative factor, where existence itself comes under threat from a man's power struggle with his alternate self, with the Enterprise straying to lithium crystals presenting his key to a final solution.
The lithium
Makes me look less forward to it than I did in my memory.
It's Lazarus.
I remember the name and everything, but
You guys have talked about that before.
Yeah. Anyway, so have a good week. And keep on trekking. Yeah. Wait, that's the Star Trek.
Now that's a Star Trek.
Live long and prosper.